This might end up being one of my hotter NBA takes, but I think the NBA kind of cooked with some of these new anti-tanking rules. Now, there's a couple ideas floating around out there, but the one that I've seen floated the most is actually the one I like the most, and it goes like this. So you have three different categories of teams. So in the first category, you have the teams that make the playoff seeds 1 through 6. And for them, the draft order doesn't change. It's the same as it always has been. So teams not in the lottery. Now, the next two categories are the lottery teams. So you have the next category down, which are teams that make the play-in. And they all have roughly a 5% chance of the number 1 overall pick. And then the final category are the teams that miss the playoffs entirely. And they have an 8% chance of the number 1 overall pick. And overall, I like this a lot. Guys, I'm working here. I'm working here. That's more like it. Overall, I like the flattened odds a lot. I don't think it eliminates tanking entirely. I don't think there's a proper way to do that without some kind of like promotion relegation or something. Now, there's no benefit between being the 11th worst team or the 16th or what will be the 16th worst team. I think this does address some of the core issues. It may sound a little weird, but I think it's more important to not so much incentivize winning, but rather to de-incentivize losing. And this certainly helps with that. So as an example, let's say you're a fan of a team that is just living in garbage disaster town that season. Like your team can't finish any better than 11, so you're stuck in one of those non-playoff spots overall. Instead of now trying to throw games and try to move down a few spots and get a few extra ping pong balls, your team can now play those young players 35 minutes a night and get them some valuable experience. Or maybe your team has some tradable assets they're looking to show off. Maybe somewhere in those games that don't matter, your team pulls off a few upsets here and there. That could be entertaining. That could be fun. The thing that pisses people off the most about the way that things are currently set up is that let's say you have a team that is on the verge of pulling an upset against a playoff team, but you're trying to go for those extra ping pong balls, so you start sitting your players or, maybe fouling players when you're up to give them free throws so you lose. Overall, it's one thing to be bad and trying to win games and bad and trying to throw games. At the very least, what this does is address that issue so you have more of the former than the latter. Overall, yeah, only time will tell, but so far, I actually really like these proposals. I hope it goes through.